Guys, welcome back.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Thank y'all for checking back in with us once again for another video. We're trying to be consistent. We're getting there. We're getting there. We're getting there. It's a pleasure to have the 20 of you that are watching the videos. Yeah, 20 people. Snap, 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 snap. Yes, yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. But I appreciate y'all checking in, or we appreciate y'all checking in with us again. What are we talking about today, young lady?
So, one of the biggest questions that we always get asked is why have we not had another child after our high school child?
Oh, yes, very, very much so. I think every family member that I come in contact with, or every old high school friend or coworker friend that meets my family, hey, Mike, what's going on, man? You guys don't have any more kids? You guys ain't popping out more babies? Like, apparently not. It's been going. It's 11 years
So
at this
11
point.
years, yeah.
But no, we get that asked, like we get asked that quite a bit, and I think we've been actually entertaining the idea for the past, I'd say, last 3-ish years.
Mm-hmm.
Up until this point, last 2-3 years, we've actually been in a position where financially we've been able to consider the idea and things like that. And now, since we have our home, it's definitely a bigger possibility. But a lot of underlying issues have prevented us from making it to that point where we can actually conceive. And it's been tough on us, especially
But
on Judith.
it's something that when we had our son, one of the biggest things that we did not want to do was have another kid right away. We
Mm,
weren't financially stable.
at all.
He was a surprise. I mean, we weren't even out of high school and I ended up pregnant. So I don't think we were in any condition
Oh,
to
Lord.
really have another kid. And then
Mm-mm.
I'm pretty sure if we had a kid maybe a year after him, I'm pretty sure my mom would have been like,
She would. You think she
my,
kicked us out?
I would have heard, it would have been tough.
Yeah.
It would have been real tough.
Yeah, I feel you.
I don't think my mom was in the position that she was already upset because we had a kid outside of wedlock.
She was. I feel like she was upset for years. I want to say
You
for like
know,
the first like 4 or 5 years of
yeah,
Cameron's life, she was like just upset.
yeah.
I don't know if it was. I think it was
I think
directed
it's
at
because
me.
no, it was mostly because the way that my mom thinks is my mom got married and then she went on to have children.
Hmm.
So one thing that she always told me, she was like, if she was able to wait till marriage, why couldn't I do
Right,
it?
right, 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 right.
So my parents are very old school Christians, and they believe in waiting till marriage, which is something that I do agree on to as well.
Yeah.
Um, but at the same time, we kind of rushed it. We ended up having a kid. We were surprised when we had him. I mean,
No, we weren't surprised. It was.
we were like, "Oh crap, we messed up."
The stuff they give you in health class that wasn't happening with us
Yeah.
at all.
So, so I mean,
Oh,
we did it to
man.
ourselves, but we honestly having another kid didn't even cross our minds at the
Mm-mm.
time. We were
Yeah,
just trying to get through it and
yeah.
just be able to raise him the best way we could.
Because we were
And
struggling for a long time.
yeah.
I mean, I think we're a lot better off now, but we struggled a lot throughout his childhood.
Yes.
And
So knowing how much we struggled with him, not knowing that we didn't believe in daycare, as we mentioned in a previous video, and not really having help,
hmm
really put a stop on us having another kid. Um, I mean, now we're almost 30.
yeah. I don't know about you. You old. I'm
And
not. Girl, but watch
honestly,
back.
there's so many times that we still doubt having another kid
Hmm.
because by this time, many people our age, people that went to high school, people that ask us, they're having kids.
Yeah.
They're already having kids.
Some of
Theirs
them got
just
3
started.
kids already.
Yeah.
I saw on
And
Instagram. I
so,
said she got a 3rd kid already today. We barely got one.
so when we think about having another kid, we're like, man, while they were out enjoying, you know, their early
20s and
the
mid 20s
early
and stuff like
20s,
that.
their mid 20s, we were already raising a kid.
Hmm.
So at this point, we're like, do we really want to start over? It's a lot of work, and just the thought of it sometimes, like the thought that I can think of that my son can now shower himself. He could put himself to bed.
He can make his own hot pockets, cereal,
Can
popcorn. He can
he
use the
can
microwave.
and not only that, like my biggest thing is that the fact that he can do most of his homework by himself.
Yeah.
Schoolwork, I'm just like I'm checked out. Like even me trying to finish school is like I hate school.
So
Like
basically, it's like the independence of a child is very like I wouldn't say it's very the opportunity when the kids get to that age, it's like, whoa, you can step back a little bit. They don't need as much of a
Yes.
helping hand, and just having to go through that again. I mean, again, I'm not saying that this will never happen. God willing, if He puts it on our plate, it's going to happen. No matter what, no matter what we say so or not. But I think that the starting over, like she said, is just it's what really drives me insane. Is because when he was a baby, the crying and the constant the diaper change, that never really got to me whatsoever. I didn't mind it at all,
Mm-hmm.
especially the ones where he was pooping, they got on his back. You know what I'm saying? the really bad poops. But that within itself, the whole walking, teaching them how to do their ABCs, the writing, the schooling, the outside sports, riding a bike for the first time.
It's a
I'd enjoy that again, but the whole aspect of the raising of a child, we haven't even finished raising one, and throwing, and he's already about to, he's a preteen at this point, you know what I'm saying? And just starting all the way back over, it would feel too much of a climb for us. It would be different if we started again when Cameron was like 4 or 5 and 6 years old. We'd
But
still
we
feel a
weren't
little
even.
fresh.
I mean, I think at the time people tend to have kids at their mid-20s.
Mm-hmm.
We just the way that we thought is like unless we're out of our parents' house, there's no way we're having another kid.
Right.
There's no way that we're having another kid under my parents' roof or anybody's roof. We want to live on our own and be independent to be able to say, you know what, we can afford another child at this point.
And maybe if we had a better relationship with Judith's mom with my mom at that point when we were younger, then I think, or maybe if we did everything by the book, let's say we went to college for a year or two, got married, and then said, hey, we're going to have kids. Our parents would have been like, oh, well, you guys are still a little young, but hey, y'all did it the right way. I think the having of a second child would have been more accepted. You know what I'm saying? Than having the child out of wedlock and then having another kid again. So that was one of the things that we've been thinking about. But recently, like since we've been in the house, it's going on 2 years now, and we've just been actively trying.
Well, I know.
Is it only this year, or has it been last year too?
So we haven't really been trying.
Well,
Like,
we've
honestly,
been-
not trying. It's just we've been more like if it happens, it happens. The thing is that we've never really been safe. So I think it's just in God's plan that it was just not meant really for us to have
Yeah.
a kid. But I think the first one that we had was in 2022 last year. And then I think when we found out, we were surprised.
Yeah, very much so, because we didn't think that could happen to us because we've been pretty, I would say, healthy enough over the past 8 to 10 years, and we didn't gain major weight. I mean, I gained a lot of weight, my dang, so I'm a big boy now, you know what I'm saying? But I think we were just dumbfounded that happened to us, because we know those things happen to women. We're not oblivious to it, but we were just super surprised that was even something that was possible with her. And I think at that point we didn't.
Well, when I remember when I took the test and it showed that we were pregnant. I was like, what? Like, I was surprised because that's the first time that in the whole, he was like 9 or 10 at the time, that had ever happened, and we're like, what the heck? Like, we're actually gonna have another kid. I think I was more like surprised.
Yeah.
I didn't really have a reaction. I was like, oh crap, like we're having another kid. At the time I was like, oh crap, what did we do? Like, I'm not even gonna lie. Like, I was just not prepared. I was just not. And we know what it comes, with doing all that stuff. But in my head, I'm just like, I'm not gonna lie. I was not as happy, I think, as he was. He was more excited. I was not.
Yeah, I think I was excited because I really wanted to have a little girl, and I'd already had her name picked out and everything.
Yeah.
Our son's name picked out. His name's
If
gonna
we
be
have
Alfonso.
No.
It has to be. It has to be, bro.
I know. I don't know. No, nothing against that name. It's just no. No.
That's one of my uncle's names is
Nah,
Alfonso.
I'm happy, but no.
But
So-
we were surprised that we got pregnant, and then how long did you?
So
when you
I remember I
carried the
found
baby?
out on a Friday.
Mhm.
No, on Friday. Yeah, it was on Friday. I found out. I didn't think anything of it.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think anything bad would happen or anything. I was just like, oh, the whole
We
time
assumed everything would be fine. We should
yeah,
just carry the baby, get big, and have the baby. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying?
Come to find out on a Sunday, I ended up miscarrying. So I remember, because I remember I just started like, you know, and when I noticed, I was like, okay, this is not normal. Like I know I haven't
Yeah.
been pregnant a very, very long
Mm-hmm.
time, but I think I remember certain things about my first pregnancy.
No.
And then I was just like, I think I was scared at the time. I was like, oh no, like what's going on? And I think that Monday I didn't end up going to work. Um, and I think we ended up going to the doctor.
Yes. Yeah. We
And
did.
then the worst experience I had ever like gone through. Like I think I just ended up going to like a, I don't know, very like they just didn't care about your feelings.
They kind of
that
just
much.
she kind of just shrugged her off, like
Yeah.
because and I don't know, it was really weird because it was the first time we've experienced this, and they basically treated it like it was nothing. Like, oh, it happens to a lot of women. You're good. You're in a long laundry list of women that's going to happen to.
Yeah.
So you don't need no medicine.
So
We don't need to do any observation. To you're good. And I think because the first one was the one where they actually put the camera on your stomach, and
Yeah.
they
they found the sac.
or what they believed was one.
Yeah.
Or what you believe was one, but they said that it was really nothing. So they
No, they said it was.
Oh,
I
they did?
didn't,
Okay,
yeah.
gotcha.
No, they said that they believed that was it. But I remember when I went there, she was like, "Oh, you're just having a miscarriage," and I was just like, "Okay."
and for a mom to hear that, and again, I'm not a mom, so I can't I can't understand what she felt, but I could feel at the point, when I was looking at the camera to see if I saw anything, she was like, they were very dismissive of her feelings, and they were very cold. And again, I'm not saying that we need to be coddled. Oh, baby, it's okay. No, I'm not saying that, but we want to have during that experience, we wanted to have some sort of compassion, and that wasn't there. It was more like robot, like Terminator, like, oh, the baby's not there, or there's nothing there, it's gone. So that really felt really bad for her, or it really made her feel really bad. And she was depressed for a while. You were depressed.
It was honestly the worst experience. And the thing is that a lot of people say, your OBGYN would take care of it.
Yeah.
Personally, I didn't really have one. I just had my family doctor. I mean, she did everything for me.
Yeah.
She just doesn't deal with pregnancy. So I had thought about going back to my first doctor where I had my son. But it's just so far away. I didn't think about. I honestly did not want to have to drive all the way over there every time that I had a doctor's appointment. But then that made me. I'm never going back to that doctor that I went to. That's last time. But
that experience was rough.
It was to a point that I didn't get an explanation of what I had to do or what I was going to experience. Through that miscarriage. And I was just like, okay, well, I mean.
It was a lot of WebMD type of stuff, Google searching, like, what's going to happen next? Can I even conceive anymore? Yeah, and you shouldn't, I don't think any woman, any young lady should feel that way after something that traumatizing happens to them, especially with their body going through changes, you know what I'm saying? So I think just more compassion is needed in that type of situation, and the thought of us having kids again at that point after that didn't even cross our mind, or we didn't even want to talk about it.
I did go see a specialist after that incident, and then he did tell me that he was a little bit more. I liked him. He was nice, but he did tell me, it does tend to happen sometimes, especially since you haven't had a kid in so long.
Mm-hmm.
His biggest concern was, how has it not happened in like almost those 9-10 years? That's what he found more strange, was because it had been so long. He found it more strange than me miscarrying, just because it had been such a long time with us not really using,
and doing the cha-cha, you know what I'm saying?
So, and so then he found it a little bit odd. But he said, if it happens again, then there is a problem.
There's some cause for concern at that point.
Then March of this year came.
And I think this year, the 2023, I think we actually had really talked about it. So we were actually trying. I think this was, this year we were actually like, we're going to do it. You know what I'm saying? We're going to have another kid. And because I know Cameron has been asking actively for the past couple of years for a sibling, you know what I'm saying? So he's like, okay, we're going to do our best, so we'll see what we can do, what mommy can do.
So then March came along and we found out I was pregnant again. I think that one hit me the hardest. I think just mentally.
Because I think
Um,
I think we were both
Ready. I think,
equally
yeah.
ready for the kid.
Actually, yeah. So when we found out, I know we were excited. I was still a little bit skeptical about it
Hmm.
because I was just scared based on my first experience.
Exactly,
But I
exactly.
was like, you know what? This one's gonna go. It's gonna be good. We're okay and everything. And I had already gone checked. They hadn't found anything on me.
They
Next
cleared
thing,
her and everything.
yeah.
You said everything looked
So
clear inside and everything like that.
next thing comes around. I was a week in from knowing when I experienced my second miscarriage.
Yeah.
Um, and I think at that point, that one I ended up hospitalized. I think that one I was more like on a danger zone. I remember I was at work. My coworker convinced me. She's like, "You need to go to the ER." So I did. I mean, the pain level on that one was just like nothing compared to the first one. The first one, I think I was able. It was like a smooth, ride. I went into the ER with pain level like. I mean, it was excruciating.
Like
It was
contractions, you
rough.
think?
Yes, it's like
Yeah.
if I was actually giving birth. It was so bad. They had told me, "Oh, you might be having an ectopic pregnancy." So
What is
what
that?
that
What's that pregnancy?
is when it's on your tube. So it's actually growing on your tubes, and what happens is that if they don't catch that on time, it could it's fatal. It can be very fatal towards the mother.
Mm.
But they didn't do anything again. I mean, they just let me go. They let me go home.
Yeah.
So I
And on top of
remember.
that, I remember that day because she called me and I was here home at home working, and my manager, the one she called Judith called me from work. Said, hey, I'm going to the hospital. This that and the other. I'm like, okay, I got you. And I told my manager like, yo, my wife's in the hospital. You know, I don't know how she's doing or what's going on. I need to leave right now. And she gave me the biggest issue for about an hour and a half. My wife was not having the best time, and I literally had to fight with this woman to leave my job to go support and be with my wife and comfort her, but I couldn't do that. So at the end of the day, or at not the end of the day, but at the closer to the end of my shift, I ended up leaving, and then I still got not or dinged for points because I left because of situation at the hospital. But it was so frustrating for me to leave work, you know what I'm saying, and go be with my wife. Like it was that part was traumatizing to me because I was racing to try to talk to other people in my job and say, hey, I need to leave right now because my wife is suffering. I need to go. And it was such a hard thing to do. But I finally was able to get up there. My sister came and picked us up, and we went to go get her at the hospital. But that portion itself was very traumatizing. And I think for me, and then for her, losing a second child, basically. At this point, we would have had a child
Oh,
already.
third.
Yeah, a third child already. I'm sorry. So very very traumatizing to hear that this was going on a second time for her. So it was something that really surreal, and it kind of even put us even more past the point where we
We
didn't want.
just didn't want to even consider it at that point.
Yeah.
I know we had talked about it a lot, and I know like my mom tells me she's like, well, like stuff happens. The thing is that it's never happened in my family, so I think I'm the first one in my family that has actually gone through it. Um, but so and my mom doesn't really understand what could be the issue. The thing is that I got tested after, they couldn't find anything with like that might be causing this recurrent miscarriages, and they pretty much cleared me again to try again. But at that time, me and him had talked about it. It's like at this point, is it even worth having another one?
Right. If we're having
Because
so many issues and just trying to, no, it's not the getting pregnant part. It's the keeping the baby and having it be conceived at the end
yeah,
of the coming to term. Carrying to term. So that was our biggest concern, and it's like it just puts us out of the question to really have more kids. And again, the intimacy was just we had to wait. And that wasn't we. I'm not saying we grew apart, but just like the whole intimate aspect.
yeah, it's just I didn't care for it.
Yeah, so we'll definitely talk more about it. We're gonna put another video up really soon. We have some more stuff to tell you guys about, like, what's going on with the
What's
whole pregnancy thing and stuff
yeah,
like that.
and
So
whether we're still if
actively trying
even
to
even if it's even in our future to even have another kid,
exactly,
because right now it's it's probably not gonna happen the way
yeah,
that me and him have been talking about it and really thinking. We're probably, I mean, the way that I see it is for there was a reason why we had our son at such a young age.
yeah,
There is a reason why we were blessed to be able to have him at the age that we were. Even though it was super early, but I mean, only God knows the reason why he gave us, our son at 17, and because now we're struggling, so
Yeah.
he might have been he might just be our only blessing, and we're fine with that. We're okay with it because we don't want to continue to go through continuous miscarriage. It's not fun.
Yeah,
And the
especially for her.
pain is like unbearable. No, I don't know if it's worse than giving birth. Because at least when you give birth, you're in pain that whole day. And I mean, obviously it's hard to carry and everything, but once you have the baby, you slowly start to get better. And sometimes with the miscarriage, it'll be a week and you're still like major pain. I'm not sure if that's normal, but that is what I have experienced. And I mean, I'm just told, just let it happen. So
But
far.
yeah, I feel you. But I thank y'all for just checking this one out. Hopefully, this again, the whole having babies thing. Hopefully, this deters these young parents out there to not young people out there just to wait a little bit, because having this happen to a young lady multiple times is never fun. So hopefully, we'll definitely have another video out this by the end of the week, if not by Saturday or Sunday, to talk to you guys about more on this topic. But thank y'all so much for checking this one out. I really appreciate you. The 20 of you guys that are checking these videos out. I hope you guys take care of yourselves, be well, and thanks again for checking us out. It's been Casa del Arroz.